I never thought I'd be the guy sharing a revenge story online, but here we are. Sometimes life hits you with something so calculated, so deliberately cruel, that you realize some people deserve exactly what's coming to them. Before we started, please like and subscribe for more thrilling revenge stories. My name is James Mitchell, and I'm a fitness trainer here in Denver. At 38, I thought I had life figured out. Successful business, great clients, and what I believed was a loving relationship with my girlfriend, Sarah. We'd been together for 2 years, and I was even thinking about proposing. Looking back, I realize how naive that sounds. The first red flag should have been obvious. But you know how it is when you're in love. You make excuses for everything. Sarah started changing her schedule around 6 months ago. Suddenly, she had client meetings at 9 p.m., work conferences that lasted all weekend, and family emergencies that required her to disappear for days at a time. I remember the exact moment everything started unraveling. It was a Thursday evening in March, and I'd just finished training my last client of the day. I decided to surprise Sarah with dinner from her favorite Italian place. When I got to her apartment, the one I'd been helping her pay rent on for 8 months, I used my key to let myself in. The apartment was empty, but something felt off. There were men's clothes in the hamper that definitely weren't mine. Different size. Different style. A cologne bottle on the bathroom counter that I've never seen before. And then I saw it. A second set of keys on the kitchen counter, attached to a keychain from a gym across town. My trainer instincts kicked in. In fitness, we teach people to assess situations methodically before reacting. So instead of confronting Sarah immediately, I decided to do some reconnaissance. I started by checking her social media more carefully. Sarah was always posting about her busy work schedule and networking events. But when I looked closer, I noticed something strange. In her photos from these supposed work events, she was always wearing different jewelry, expensive pieces I'd never seen before. And the locations? They didn't match the company she claimed to be meeting with. The breakthrough came when I hired a private investigator. I know it sounds extreme, but something in my gut told me this was bigger than just suspicious behavior. The PI, a guy named Marcus who specializes in infidelity cases, came back with information that absolutely floored me. Sarah wasn't just cheating on me. She was running what can only be described as a relationship scam operation. The PI discovered that she maintained active romantic relationships with 4 different men simultaneously, including me. Each of us was contributing to different aspects of her lifestyle. I was covering her main apartment rent. Another guy was paying for her car. A third was funding her shopping habits. And the fourth was covering her business trips. But here's the kicker. She had convinced each of the other 3 men that they were her primary relationship. To them, I was just a friend from the gym who occasionally helped with her fitness routine. She had crafted completely different personas for each relationship, with different backstories, different career goals, even different family emergencies. The level of calculation was breathtaking. She kept separate phones for different relationships, maintained different social media accounts, and had even rented a second apartment across town, where she lived with one of the other guys, the one whose clothes I'd found in her hamper. Marcus showed me photos, bank records, lease agreements, phone records, everything. Sarah had been living this double life for over a year, maybe longer. The apartment I thought was ours was actually shared with another man on alternating weeks. When she told me she was visiting her sister in Phoenix, she was actually living with guy number 3 in what he thought was their shared apartment. The financial scope was staggering. Between all 4 of us, she was pulling in roughly $8,000 a month in direct contributions, plus gifts, trips, and expenses. She was living like someone making 6 figures while working part-time at a boutique fitness studio. But the emotional manipulation was the worst part. Each of us had been carefully selected and groomed. I was the successful trainer who provided stability and gym connections. Another guy was a tech executive who provided financial security. The third was a lawyer who helped with her legal issues, which I now realize were probably fabricated. The fourth was a pilot who provided travel opportunities and adventure. She had studied us, figured out our weaknesses, and crafted the perfect girlfriend persona for each relationship. With me, she was the ambitious fitness enthusiast who shared my passion for health and wellness. With the tech guy, she was the struggling entrepreneur who needed just a little help getting her business off the ground. With the lawyer, she was the innocent victim of various legal complications. With the pilot, she was the free spirit who loved adventure, but needed someone to show her the world. The rage I felt when I learned all this was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. But I'm not the type to act on emotion. In fitness training, we teach people that the best results come from consistency and planning, not from explosive bursts of activity. So I planned. I spent 2 weeks gathering additional evidence and coordinating with Marcus. We documented everything: the fake social media accounts, the duplicate keys, the overlapping schedules, the financial transactions. I even managed to get photos of her with the other men, including some particularly damning shots of her wearing the engagement ring that the lawyer had given her, while she was supposedly single and dating me. The plan was simple but comprehensive. I would expose her to all 4 men simultaneously, ensuring that none of us could be manipulated into believing this was just a misunderstanding or a temporary lapse in judgment. First, I created a group text with all 4 phone numbers, including screenshots of bank transfers, photos of her with each of us, and copies of the lease agreements showing her multiple living arrangements. The message was straightforward. "Gentlemen, I think we need to talk about Sarah." The response was immediate and explosive. Within minutes, all 3 other men were calling and texting. The tech executive was furious about the $15,000 he'd invested in her fake business. The lawyer was devastated about the engagement ring and the deposit he'd put down on a house they were supposed to move into together. The pilot was angry about the expensive trips he'd paid for, thinking he was treating his exclusive girlfriend to romantic getaways. But I wasn't done. The group text was just the opening move. I compiled all the evidence into a comprehensive presentation. Think of it as a business case study of systematic fraud. I included timelines showing how she managed to juggle all 4 relationships, financial records showing the scope of her deception, and photo evidence of her living arrangements. Then I shared this presentation with everyone in her social circle. Her coworkers at the fitness studio, her friends from college, her family members, everyone got a copy. I wasn't trying to destroy her life out of spite. I was trying to protect any other potential victims from falling into the same trap. The social consequences were swift and severe. Her fitness studio fired her immediately. Apparently, this wasn't the first time there had been concerns about her integrity. Her college friends cut contact. Even her family was horrified, and several relatives reached out to apologize for her behavior. But the legal consequences were even more satisfying. The lawyer, it turned out, had been documenting everything for potential legal action. Between the four of us, we had grounds for fraud charges, and the evidence was overwhelming. Sarah found herself facing potential criminal charges for the financial fraud and civil lawsuits for the emotional damages. Within a month, she had lost her job, her social circle, her living arrangements, and her income stream. The other three men and I didn't become friends, exactly, but we developed a mutual respect for how we handled the situation. We all got our money back through the legal proceedings, and more importantly, we all learned valuable lessons about recognizing manipulation. The pilot actually thanked me for exposing everything before he proposed to her, which he had been planning to do the same week I discovered the truth. The tech executive used his experience to create a dating app feature that helps people verify relationship information. The lawyer, well, he just went back to being a very careful lawyer. As for me, I learned that my instincts were right. When something feels off, it probably is. I also learned that the best revenge isn't always the most dramatic one. Sometimes, it's just making sure the truth comes out and letting natural consequences take their course. Sarah tried to contact me several times after everything unraveled, claiming it was all a misunderstanding, that she really did care about me, that she was planning to end things with the others. But by then, I had seen the evidence of her planning and calculation. This wasn't a mistake or a moment of weakness. It was a carefully executed long-term strategy. The last I heard, she had moved back in with her parents in another state. I don't wish her harm, but I do hope she learned something from the experience. More importantly, I hope our exposure of her methods helps other people recognize similar patterns before they get in too deep. These days, I'm more careful about relationships, but I'm not cynical. I know that most people are genuine and honest, but I also know that some people are very skilled at appearing to be something they're not. The key is trusting your instincts and not being afraid to investigate when something doesn't add up. The fitness industry taught me that sustainable results come from consistency, honesty, and hard work. Turns out, the same principles apply to relationships. Sarah was looking for shortcuts and quick gains, and like most shortcuts, it eventually caught up with her. I still live in Denver, still train clients, and I'm still open to finding the right person. But now, I know the difference between someone who shares your values and someone who just knows how to fake sharing your values. And honestly, that knowledge makes me more confident, not less. What would you do if you were in Jane's situation? Would you have handled the exposure differently? Or do you think coordinated revelation was the right approach? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you think you'd handle discovering something like this.